We are back. Thanks for staying with us. It's time for us to go through the front pages of the newspaper. And of course, I'm doing this with Mike Messikeno. Hello, Mikey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's take a look at the papers this morning.
Let's, we'll be starting, of course, with the Punch newspaper this morning. So making the headlines here, I see...
There's talk about old banknotes
yes,
and legal
remaining
tenders.
legal.
And all of that. But the major headline that we can see is electronic collation illegal, says INEC. Police warn NLC. That's talking about the off-season polls. This weekend, there are going to be elections in Kogi, Bayelsa State. This week, what's the third state? Number 3 states will have off election this weekend. And Obi faults Tinubu's 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget. We also
so I'll just take some of the stories here. At the top of the paper here, we have $51 billion debt. Federal government rules dwindling revenue. Reps condemn needless loans. Contracts. Government promises to block leakages. Lawmakers decry high debt servicing. And of course, here we also have, okay, I'll just quickly move over to the bottom of the paper. UK police probe suicide of British-born Nigerian. And finally, federal government stops electricity tariff hike, insists on subsidy. Mike, is there any other stories here that you'd like to?
No, of course, it's election season in some states, like I mentioned earlier, Kogi, Bayelsa. So, of course, we know that the security forces have mobilized more in those particular regions to ensure that there is security and safety of lives and property during the election period. So people go out there to exercise their civil rights and be peaceful about it. And so that's basically it for those in elections during in those places. Just take a look at the nation. And we have a Senate House agreement raises student loan to 10 billion naira. We've been talking about the student loan for a while. My own is that I hope it is accessible to the people who actually need it, because the conditions at the beginning, which we saw, which I know that conditions are not stuck in stone. They can be relaxed or some conditions can be waived. So I believe that there should be some sort of waiver so that people that actually need these loans get these loans and are able to go through school.
I think just the concerns regarding the student loans basically has been the due diligence, being done in terms of, because I mean, according to reports, the only students who are liable to these loans, or who have access to these loans, or who these loans are accessible to, are students whose parents do not earn above 100,000 naira. Right. So my concern basically is, will there be enough due diligence done for some of these parents to ensure that all of these students or all of the people within who are who these loans are for, have access to them.
NLC strike fails to hold in Imo State. Of course, the purported strike after the attack on the NLC President Joe Ajero. But then it says that in Imo, offices are open, airport in operation, and power cut enters day 7. That's talking about in Imo State. And Power Minister threatens discos and GENCOs with license revocation. All of that on the front page of the Nation. It's just one more headline there, just top right. The old new Naira notes remain legal tender, CBN reaffirms, and bandits took 250 million Naira ransom to free 121 Baptist school pupils. The Nation. That's why we have all that those stories.
Okay, let's move over to the Daily Independent newspaper here, making the headlines. Trapped funds, despite claim federal government yet to pay $800 million to foreign airlines. Nigeria world's highest in blocked funds, says IATA. And still here we have, don't reject old Naira notes, says the CBN. I think there's been reports of people, rejecting the old Naira notes, and the CBN here is coming forward to say, please, accept the old Naira notes, so they are still a legal tender. Yes. And so let's see at the top of the paper here, Nigerian banks may lose 25 billion naira to cybercrime by year-end, says reports. Interesting story there. And aviation unions shut down Imo Airport over Ajero Imo government impasse. Declare Uzodinma persona non grata at airports. And just take one more final story here. Emefiele, there must be end to detention without trial. Court tells federal government grants former CBN governor bail after 151 days in detention. And so his arraignment has been adjourned to November 15th. And there's also the story here about Tinubu signs 2.17 trillion Naira supplementary fund budgets rather into law.
Yeah, we've seen that on different parts and all of that.
Yeah.
Let's see the Guardian. If we have time to take one more paper. Inflation effects and many tariffs compound Nigeria's trade woes. Now, okay, let me take more headlines. The EFCC arraigns 11 OAU students for internet fraud, and Knox Tinubu signs 2.1 trillion supplementary budget. And off-cycle polls, Kuka tasks INEC on transparency as candidates sign peace accord. And aviation unions shun Imo-bound flight, declare Uzodinma persona non grata. We can also see here, LASU suspends Dean over certificate racketeering as Senate probes fraudulent admissions. And NPAN decries rising hardship, urges Tinubu to engage media stakeholders. And Lagos State Government seals warehouse and stores at International Trade Fair Complex. We also see here, okay, this is the airport or something that's talking about the picture story up here, all of that on the front page of The Guardian. Okay.
And finally, to wrap this up on the papers this morning, we have the Nigerian Tribune making the headlines here. Peace accord for off-season polls. Seriousness, commitment of candidates in doubts, says Abdul Salami here, and expects them to obey rules on our accord, ensure free, fair polls, and commends INEC for adequate preparation. And as CDC deploys 22,600 personnel in Imo, Kogi, Bayelsa, FRSC deploys 4,500. And 137,973 party agents to participate in polls, says INEC. And the top of the paper here, why we cannot increase electricity tariff now, says federal government. And Olubadan, Ladoja, Ibadan, Obas hold advisory council meeting. I bear no grudge against anybody, says Ladoja, and explains why he challenged Makinde orders in court. And of course, there are other stories making the headlines here, including Tinubu's signing of the 2.17 trillion Naira supplementary budget into law. And that's all we can take on the front pages this morning.